psychological suffering, whenever you experience psychological suffering, you can ask yourself the question, if it was my experience that I am universal consciousness instead of the separate consciousness I believe to be, what would happen to this psychological suffering?
It would dissipate.
Right. You see that it would dissipate because the sufferer wouldn't be there. You see? Let's take an example of psychological suffering. If I have psychological suffering in a relationship, it's only because I see myself as a separate consciousness. The moment I understand that it is the same consciousness here and there, first I take whatever steps are the best steps to be taken to honor the consciousness out there, just as I honor, but without either failing to honor the consciousness in here. So I am fair to both parties. I take whatever steps are required, and then I leave it up to consciousness. But there is to fix, to go back to harmony. But all the psychological problems stop right there, you see. So then, and psychological suffering is in fact the big ticket item about suffering, because you have people who are wealthy, healthy, young, good looking, etc., and they commit suicide. Their life is a nightmare, which shows that happiness is not in those elements, wealth, youth, health, etc. It has to be found somewhere else. So the end to psychological suffering, of which the Buddha spoke, is when we discover that there is no separation, that there is not a separate self, that there is not a separate consciousness. But as long as there is the belief that we are a separate consciousness, there is suffering. Because the suffering on the one hand and the belief in separation are like two sides of the same coin, the coin of ignorance. You cannot have one without the other. They always go together. They are one and the same. So once you